nervousness and being excited, they actually come from the same part of the brain. Like they're actually these two things just packaged differently. So we actually have that switch that if we feel nervous, we just turn on that switch. Instead of feeling nervous, just tell yourself that what, I'm excited.
Hi, welcome to Studio Life, and today we're going to do something different. So instead of me talking in front of a camera, talking about a certain topic, I will be interviewing a guest. And for today's episode, the guest is Pwek, and she is the creative director and co founder of Bluqube. And if you don't know Bluqube, they do tons of amazing work from branding, design, animation, websites, and everything that we will talk about in the show. I will link them in the descriptions below. So here it goes. Record na. Okay. Um. So, honestly, I don't know how to start. I've prepared some questions. Pero I think to start na lang, let me go back again to the reason why I'm doing this. Is because I see a problem in, I'm not sure if it's in the Philippines, but in Davao I think we lack the drive or to know the perspective of what's going on in the industry. And most of Davao creatives, when they try to get started, they are lost. And one of my resources is podcast through the future and School of Motion, and it broadened my perspective. And I want to offer that to to the Filipinos, Filipino creatives, by interviewing studio owners, freelancers in the
Yeah.
Philippines, starting with you, so that they would be aware and have a broad perspective. Um, okay,
Okay, so I have a question before we begin, Mar. So,
okay,
what? Because of course, like I want you to be able to hit your objectives in regards to this interview.
Mhm.
I also wanted to make it worth your while. So,
Okay.
what is it that you're looking for? Like, what is it? How would you know if this little interview that we have is going to be successful? Like, what do you want to get out
Hmm.
of this?
I guess in the future, uh, maybe if someone would message me that this video or series of video helped them in their career,
Yeah.
I think that would be successful.
Yeah, so it's more of helping out like these young budding designers.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
yeah.
correct.
In general, right? Not just limited to animation or.
Yes, yes. Not just limited to animation.
Okay, let's do it. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not. This is my first time too. Okay,
Okay.
so don't expect a lot, but I'll
Okay.
see what I can. I'll,
Okay.
I'll see what I can do. Okay.
Okay. To start na lang, I think some of the viewers, I think we have a few, still don't know you yet. So maybe you could share a brief origin story of how you started your career.
Right. Okay. So yeah, so my name is Pwek and I am a graphic designer. So I have been a graphic designer for about 11 years. And just like anyone else, like I started graphic design because just for the kick of it, right? I started graphic design, like designing stuff for my friends, just messing around with their photos and, just doing like all these fun things. But there was something about it that really, that really connected with me as a person. It's because like when what I realized was just coming up with something out of nothing that could actually bring either delight or to the audience or certain either bring out delight, information, or communicate a certain message or emotion, right? So there was something about it that I found magical as a kid. I started out when I was in high school. That was my first introduction, but I got my first gig when I was in second year in college. And yeah, so basically that's how I started out as a designer.
Did you take up a course in graphic design, or are you self-taught?
Self-taught, definitely,
Mhm.
100%. All before YouTube, there were blogs, so I would read a lot. on things. It was a very it was a little bit more, how would you call it? It was a little primitive, you know. It's
Mm.
all like just blog articles, so that's where I learned using typography, or using the pen tool, and dabbling with all these different blending options. So that's where I started out. There was no formal training at all, and even worse, there were no mentors nearby. So you just
Mm.
have to, yeah, just hit Google and see where it could take you.
Okay. I'm really curious. So that was in second year you got your first gig.
Yeah,
Uh,
first gig.
can you talk a little bit more about that? How did you get that gig?
Yeah. Okay. So I was doing a lot of design work within school stuff. I was very active with organizations, and I would do like T-shirt designs, like posters. Of course, they were for free. I loved it. And then there was this one org mate that recognized it, and she had a friend that worked in a call center, and they needed like a tarpaulin design for a booth that they had. And of course, she recommended me. I didn't have design, I didn't have training in terms of like dealing with
Mm.
clients. I didn't even know how my work would translate on like large print, and that was my first project, and it was like a large tarpaulin design. I didn't realize that in order for you to actually have like an actual, the actual printout, you have to have the dimensions right, or like
Mm.
the actual dimensions. So there was a lot of back and forth. I was working with a laptop that was like 64 MB RAM. Imagine that, and it was a huge design, and there was a lot of back and forth because I would say that, okay, this is the right aspect ratio. Like you can just shred it up, and nothing's gonna happen. It's gonna be fine, and they kept on complaining that it was all pixelated and stuff. And then that's when I
Mm.
realized, like, oh shit, maybe I need to like do the actual dimension of the actual print. And yeah, I really literally dragged myself, towards finishing that project because my laptop was not cooperating at all. But that was when I realized that when I completed it and they were happy about it, I got paid for it. Like there was a certain satisfaction to it.
Mm.
Uh, like no shit, I can do this for a living. It's like it's an extra money. Yeah,
Okay. So my story is a bit similar to that. I was also
yeah,
in college, and my a classmate of mine, it was his second course,
yeah,
uh and that's where I got my first gig. He asked if
yeah,
anyone knew animation, and yeah, same feeling that I could make a living out of this. It was really amazing. And
yeah.
um parang nabitin ako, so
Mhm.
I went to freelancer and bid on projects. So that's
Right.
how I really got into this industry.
What
So
year did you start, Marv? Like, what year was that?
what year? I was fourth year in college, I think around 2011.
Okay, okay. Wow, tough time too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it's okay to ask. So how old are you, Pwek?
Right now, I'm 29, turning 30 this April 15. So,
Okay. So we're the same age. I'm also 29.
yeah, nice.
Okay.
It's still young.
Yeah, we were still young. So my next question is would revolve around Bluqube. So
Okay,
how did Bluqube started?
okay. So, right after college, well, I didn't finish college, right? So,
Mm.
after the college part of my story, I proceeded. The main reason why I did quit college is because I wanted to pursue like a career in design. So, I did freelance work. There was just like small projects here and there, but I knew that I wanted to start with that career, right? And since there were no design schools nearby, I just figured that maybe just jump right up into the career part.
Mhm.
So I I had friends who had businesses, and then those friends also had friends, so there was like a lot of recommendations here and there. It wasn't huge projects, And then I one project led me to meeting John. John is my partner, and he's a very vital um, persona in this story because he was actually the founder, like the legit founder of Bluqube. Like he was the one who it was his idea to start Bluqube. But anyway, so I was freelancing, and then John happened to, he happened. Okay. So John had a company called Home, and then this company was from Manila, and then he decided he wanted to stay here in Iloilo. So he opened up a store here. And during the opening, he needed someone to design stuff for him, right? So John is very particular with design as well. He's not a designer per se, but he has a lot of background in terms of design since his dad is an architect. So he's very keen on design. Like he's very, nitpicky when it comes to those kind of things. Um, so anyway, he was looking for a designer, and then his wife had a friend who was also my friend. So it's like a lot of referrals. Then eventually we met, and when we met for the first time, and then I I was able to design this invitation for his grand opening. Right? So I did an invitation design. He loved it. He loved my style, and he just knew that we're going to be working together for a long time because we had that click. It wasn't easy for us to get into the same headspace, right? So anyway, like after a few months of working with him with Archihome, he called me up one day. I was in the middle of a shoot. Like I was doing like a lot of gigs on the side, and I was in the middle of the shoot. And he called me and he asked me, like, "Hey, Pwek, can you design? I'm starting this new company. It's called Bluqube, and I need you to design a logo for Bluqube." And I was like, "That sounds interesting. Sure, man. Like, okay, let's do it." So we met. He discussed specifics about the company. Bluqube started out as a software development company. It wasn't a design agency back then. And he told me about this new company. He was very passionate about it, just building solutions for businesses, etc. And naturally, I was infected by that passion. So, like, I went home. Like, I remember this. Like, I went home. I was so excited and working on it. And then, like, the moment I went home, I opened my laptop, signed Bluecube's logo, and it didn't take me more than 20 minutes to do it. When I found it, okay, this is it. This is the logo that I'm going to be presenting to him. And when I presented it to him, like I'm not sure, like maybe that was the day after or something, but the moment I presented him, he fell in love with the logo. Like he loved it, and he loved it so much that he said, like, you know what, why don't you just join the company? We haven't incorporated it yet. Why don't you join? And I was like, I don't know anything about software development, but back then I was really in that point in my life where you don't really understand, like, you want to be a designer, right? But you don't really understand which path you're going to take, or for me it was a very, very crucial time. Like every decision that I made back then definitely like affected a lot of things moving onwards, right? But it was a point in my life where I literally had nothing to lose, man. Like, I quit college, I was all in, and I was like, this opportunity presents itself. Like, you know what? Let's do it. And I was like, let's figure it out. So that's it. So that's how Bluqube started. And after months of just doing paperwork, I was the owner of of a software development company, and
Okay.
that excited me a lot too. Yeah,
Just another question.
yeah,
Since you said that John was an architect,
yeah.
why was the new company that
Sorry,
he?
his dad was an architect.
Oh, his dad was an architect, and
Yeah.
John is a software developer.
No, he's a businessman. Like he was, it's just an
Oh,
entrepreneur. He was very
okay.
passionate about business, and his company called Archihome, they were selling architectural products. So these are products that
Mm.
are faucets, but are extremely expensive. It's because of design, right? So it's very,
Okay.
yeah. So that was actually meeting John for the first time, and I asked him like, why are your faucets like the faucet? their faucets are more expensive than the laptop that I was using. Why are your faucets so damn expensive? And he answered with one thing. That's what he said, design. And like, I was like, wow, like, is this the industry that I'm in? Like, is this the impact that this
Mm.
craft could actually create? Like, I didn't even realize it back then. And I was like, I need to learn more about this shit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Next question. I mean, now that you're in Bluqube, it's a
yeah,
software development company.
yeah.
I mean, what were your role in the early times of Bluqube? What did you design? What is your day to day basis?
Yeah, so when we first started it out, my the job description was I was the creative director from the get go.
Mm.
Like it was a software development company, but you know, a software development company can have a creative director. So like I was
Mhm.
the creative director. So what I did was I would design all our marketing stuff, you know, like stuff that we post on Facebook or stuff that we, you know, like flyers or whatever. So I did all that. So in a way, like I was kind of like the brand strategist at some point,
Mm.
you know,
Okay.
well, creatively, at least for the visual part of it. And then part of my job too was to make the software look pretty. So I didn't know anything about UI UX that time. Like I've never encountered that word that time, or like interface design or something. I didn't know, but I that's where I just tried to learn. So I because I had that job and I had that responsibility. Um, I tried research. I started doing research in terms of interface. So I was also the one who designed the interface for like the POS systems, construction management systems that we were creating.
Okay. Next question is, so how did Bluqube transition from being a software development into what it is today? So I'm assuming Bluqube today is a brand agency.
Right.
So yeah, so how did that transition from a software development company to
Yeah.
a brand agency?
Yeah. So um, basically, it was just two failed projects that taught us that lesson. Um, we we were trying to design. Okay, so like we were trying to design a couple of things. We were trying to create POS systems. We tried to create construction management systems and queuing systems, right? And then we were able to get clients. But what we realized that like, the turnaround was crazy in terms of these kind of stuff. Like it was hard to sell it. You have a tough time actually like selling the product, and when the time comes that you sell it, the turnaround time is just ridiculous. Like there's
Mhm.
just a lot of moving parts that just sprouts out from nowhere, and then we realize it was one of our meetings where when we asked ourselves like, why don't we try something else? Like why don't we try offering something else, because clearly like this thing takes a lot of time before we could earn money off of it. So why don't we try other things? Just explore what else we could do. And since one of the guys that we have on board was a software developer, um, one thing that we figured that made sense was to create websites, right? So I think
Mhm.
that was like the next, like it's kind of like the sister of software development.
Mhm.
Yeah, to put it, in very layman's terms. So like we started creating websites for local companies, and we got the hang of it. Like I loved it. Like, personally, I loved it because it was more of where I'm at, and that was when there was this one client where we did offer our website service, like doing their whole design and development for their website. And then they said that they needed, like when we met them for the first time, they said they needed a logo for their company. So this was a resort. It's a local resort. It's based in Ticawan, Iloilo. It's for Iloilo. It's a huge resort. So we were happy about it. So that's when we tried, branding. Then we just explored design. Yeah, we did the video. Like we did like a bunch of stuff. Like we just went for it, like all in. And it was a successful project. And you know, just went on from there. We knew like we were getting the hang of it, like we were enjoying it. You know, clients were actually happy with what we do. So maybe that's when we realized that maybe this is our thing.
Hmm.
Maybe
So
this makes more sense.
okay. Now, how did the client know or ask you the logo? So when you got this website project, they just ask you for a logo, or do you have it in the
Yeah.
portfolio already?
Uh, well, we were doing logo designs. Remember, because I was working with John, so
Mm.
like we were still I would still do stuff for him, design work for him while Bluqube was
Mm.
going on. So what we did was whatever work that we did, together for Archie Home, we put it like on Bluqube's portfolio. And part of the work that we did for Archie Home was actually creating products, right? So like we were branding products. So they had logo designs for like a certain type of closet. They had a logo design for a certain kind of bathtub. So
Mm.
yeah, we showed them, and then you know what? Like, can you guys change your logo? We don't like this guy's. Well, also because the owner of the resort is actually not from here. He's German, so I think
Mm.
that says a lot too, because
Okay.
like these people actually even back then they would put like a lot of value in stuff that
Mm.
yeah.
Okay. With that said, I'm just really curious. So majority of your clients right now are from abroad or local?
I wouldn't say that majority. I think it's just a 50-50 thing.
Mm.
We like
Okay.
to balance it out because although we do need um, sorry, somebody's calling.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Can you pause for a while?
Sure, sure.
Okay. Anyway, where was I? Okay. Um, where was I again?
I was asking the ratio of local
Oh
and
yeah. Okay. So of course, we like working with international clients. Well, because of course, they pay well.
mm,
But more than that, it's actually learning how things go on out there, right?
mm,
Because they have a lot of new they have a lot of new way of doing things, which we like to apply and teach here locally.
mm,
So it's really a 50-50 thing. I can't really say for sure like which one's more or not because, but before there was a huge chunk that's actually from abroad. There was I think that was 2 years ago or something that most of our
and
clients were from abroad, and it was not until just a year or 2 years ago that we've actually grown our clientele here locally because I think it's where they've already started to realize the value of what we do.
mm.
Yeah,
So moving forward, do you see the local market to expand, or are you targeting more the clients abroad, or are you targeting more locally? What is the future in terms of looking for clients?
for clients.
Yeah.
For sure, like the market locally is gonna expand. Like I really believe that it's just gonna fly for the next 2 5 years from now. But uh, your question is like what's the game plan? Like
Mm,
where should we put our efforts into, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think that we should limit ourselves with just local clients for sure. Although the
Mm,
local industry is going to expand. It is because more and more people are starting to realize it, and there are like a lot of different approaches in terms of marketing, especially online. So that's just gonna move forward from there. But because of the advent of the internet, like this access to all this information, I think it's important for us as creators, as designers, to really put ourselves out there, and try to maximize our reach, maximize our network. So for us, like if you ask us at Bluqube right now, um, of course, we would still want to expand our clientele internationally, for
Mm.
sure, 100%. But what we're trying to do here locally is just continue to educate the market, both businessmen and creators as well, because a lot of our initiatives in the next year is just like on, you know, building communities around like the design scene here, and it's really providing tools and venues in order for them to learn more about the craft, and just to bridge that gap. Yeah,
Okay. My next question is
yeah,
somewhat related to that. For those who want to start a studio or maybe
yeah,
go on freelancing, one of the fears is where do we get the clients?
yeah.
Where do you get your clients?
Okay, so where do we get our clients? Like, that's a good question. Yeah. Um, for locals, okay, so let's just divide this into like different client categories, right? For local clients, it's really because of word of mouth. So I think there's still value in that, like referrals. So word of mouth doesn't have to mean like literally, just people. It's just a person to person recommendation. But for me, it's word of mouth is when people actually vouch for you online, both online and offline. So a lot of our local clientele is really because of word of mouth, and because we've been here for quite a while, and it's just a walk-in thing because we built this like since 2011, right?
Mm.
But for international clients, like actually a good percentage of that is also through networking, and when we do shoots like abroad, we make sure that a part of our trip is really allotted to just networking and meeting new people, especially in the same industry, or like those who are businessmen. So honestly, we didn't um, get clients from like Upwork or
Mm.
sites like those,
Okay.
because I don't think it's the right market for the stuff that we do. So most of it, like a good chunk of it, is really from referrals, like traditional marketing, just done in a more technological way. But
Mm.
it's really because of word of mouth and networking, knocking on people's doors. I mentioned before that I went to Blind Studio in LA, and
Mm. Yeah.
just yeah, because like for me personally, I still really believe in that human connection in order for you to build like long lasting relationships, yeah. Business
Okay.
relationships.
So I'm curious now. Who does the business stuff at Bluqube? Is it you or is it John, or is there a specific person or a business development person who does those kind of things?
Definitely, when he first started out, it was John, because he's
Mm.
the businessman, right? He's the entrepreneur, and I just learned as we went along. I was purely an artist before, and but now, since I've grown, and John wants to focus on bigger things, so I do like a lot of the stuff operationally here in the studio. But when it comes to business strategies, or like where the company is going to, it's really like a collective. Like we have these weekly meetings where we discuss, like, okay, so make decisions based on the direction of the company. But a lot of the entrepreneurial side of it is really from John, and me. I just adapted as we go along, and as I learned the ropes.
Mm.
Yeah,
Really interesting. I mean, it's a good combo. You are the creative, and John is the
yeah,
business, the business guy. So I mean, it's really a good combo. For me, it's a bit different. Because I started as an animator, a freelancer,
yeah,
and I also end up being the businessman. So it's a bit challenging trying to balance those two things. So
yeah,
now I'm curious. You mentioned in your talk that you are
yeah,
an introvert. So
yeah. And
so now when you do networking, does the how do I say it? Does the uneasiness of talking to people goes away, or is it still there when you do it now, or were you able to overcome it?
Honestly, for me, I'm an introvert, 100%. Like as much as possible, I like, staying home alone, watch Netflix. That's kind of like my thing. But when it comes to networking, especially outside of the country, I honestly feel a lot more comfortable talking to strangers.
Okay.
Maybe there's a certain comfort that you know that these guys don't know you. Um,
Mm.
so for me, I take advantage of that and just go right ahead. Like uh, I'm even more comfortable talking to like a lot of people, like when I'm on stage and I
Mm.
do like speaking in engagements, as compared to like talking to just like a few, in a smaller crowd. So there is still an uneasiness though. Like as an introvert, I don't think that's something that you can take away. There's that like certain fear or something like, oh my god, like maybe I'm gonna say something wrong, and then we just we we think ahead, like way ahead as introverts before we say anything. So there's a lot of that battle going on, but it's just a matter of just fuck it and jump right into it and push the button and see what happens, I guess. But yeah, if you ask me, there is still that
Mm.
nervousness.
So for me, it never goes away. I've been talking to clients, strangers for the past 7 years, and even right now, if you're going to before this call, I've been walking around in circles, thinking what I'm going to ask back. Maybe this going to this is going to shock,
it
and it never goes away. It never goes away, and I'm
doesn't.
I'm
It
I'm
doesn't.
curious if and most of the creatives, they are
Hmm.
introverts, and
Yes.
if
Yes.
you have one tip for them, what would be it in terms of
Yeah.
being an introvert and networking? Because this is a tricky part, because if you want to be successful in our industry, you really have to network, and I've realized that around 3 years ago. But uh the challenge is creatives are introverts, so
Yeah. They
what
are.
advice?
We are, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. What advice? Okay, so okay, there's kind of like these two scenarios that's just like on top of my head right now when it comes to being an introvert in the creative field. One is that fear, like that fear you need to just overthink things, like you said, like before a for a meeting or before an engagement or something. You just you're all kinds of nervous, right? But there's this one thing that for me is more dangerous. It's that feeling that you just don't want to get out of the house.
Mhm. Okay.
You don't even have a meeting or anything. You just know that you don't want to get out of the house. So for the first one, when that feeling of anxiety starts to creep in, my advice would be, I know you're a fan of Simon Sinek, so
Mm.
I've watched this talk of his, just online, and this really struck me, and I've been practicing this a lot. They say, like when you interview like big athletes, right, during the what do you call that? Um, maybe the Olympics or something. But right before a big game, like there's a lot of interviewers that would ask athletes like, "Are you nervous?" Right? That's their first question, and then the athlete would respond that I'm excited. I'm excited. So actually, they found that nervousness and being excited, they actually come from the same part of the brain. Like they're actually these two things, just packaged differently. So we actually have that switch. That if we feel nervous, we just turn on that switch. Instead of feeling nervous, just tell yourself that what, I'm excited. And like ever since I've watched that and I do that, it actually works. Like right before a big meeting, instead of just saying I'm nervous, like I tell myself like I'm excited. It's just the same. Like you get, you can't sleep. You pace around, like you're restless. It's the same thing. So that's a neat trick. That's like that's the life hack for me. Thank God for Simon Sinek. But that really helped a lot in terms of me managing myself when I have those mini anxiety attacks. Not really anxiety attacks, but that feeling of nervousness right before something important, or like before you can actually do that when you're trying to hit on somebody instead of
Okay.
saying like I'm excited. It actually changes your perception of things. And of course, many of you would agree that everything is just about perspective. But it's a neat trick and it works. Second one, like that feeling, the introverts feeling of just not wanting to go out of the house or just, stay at the studio 100% of the time, stay where you're comfortable.
Mm.
I think that one's more, that's more dangerous for me. And that's something that I struggle with a lot. But, um, but I always tell myself that if, um, not all the world is introverted, and not and if I don't get out of here, then like there are a lot of opportunities that opportunities to connect. Not really opportunities to make money. For me, like money just comes after. But it's like those opportunities to connect or be part of other people's stories, which is more important for me. I don't really have a tip for that. It's just really that mindset where, like um, am I really gonna miss out on this? That fear of missing out, that FOMO, the term FOMO, you can actually use it in a positive sense. Like for example, you get invited to a social gathering, and then you're just the introverted you, who just no, I don't want to go. But then when you think about it differently, and this could be an opportunity to connect with other people and maybe bring value to the lives of other people. So
So to summarize that, your advice for the first one, which is fear, is to shift the nervousness into being excited.
yeah,
And
yeah,
really good tip. I think I'm gonna try that on the
yeah,
next client call. And for the next one, the more dangerous one, the part where you just don't want to get out of your comfort
yeah,
zone,
yeah,
is to turn FOMO into a positive sense.
yeah. you
Okay.
know you have to have that fear of missing out on that next opportunity to connect with other people or be a part of somebody's story or bring value. You have to have that fear, because without it, then you're just it's kind of sad.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't want to take much of your time
yeah,
right now. I think it's almost an hour. I just want one more question from you, or one more topic.
okay.
I've noticed in your social media that you talk about this why, and
Yeah,
I've heard you talk in Design South
yeah,
just recently, and you talked about why. And
yeah,
can you talk about what's the inspiration behind that, and
yeah,
why are you motivated to go around the Philippines and give talks about the why, and
yeah,
how does the why help the creative?
yeah, for sure. um like I said, I'm a huge fan of Simon Sinek. Like, I think there's a lot of value in the stuff that he conveys. And when I watch it, like I just watch because I'm a designer. I kind of like watch it with the designer's lens, right? And you know what? Like, I think it made a lot of sense to me. It's because like this is actually the kind of thing that we're trying to convey to our clients, right? So for me, it was that link that okay, of course, like Simon's talking about like personal life and your personal development and finding your purpose, but it actually also translates to us actually um, giving that to our clients. So that had a lot of impact with me, and that's always been like from that day on. Like I said that we have a lot of students who always come by here at the studio just for for a tour or like for internships or work immersions. And when we wrap it up, I would always end with that, because I think it is important for a creative to find purpose in what he or she's doing, because a career in the creative industry, honestly, it's just there's no formula for it. We can talk all day, we can watch all the webinars, we can or read a lot of books, but honestly, for every person, it's a different journey. For for every creative, it's gonna be a different set of obstacles. It's gonna be a different set of um, just X and Y's, that they have to deal with, and there is like an added weight to that because as artists, we fall in love very deeply with the work that we do, and when somebody comes in and tells us that our work is not good, it it's a different kind of it's a different kind of attack
Mm.
to us at some point. At some point,
Mm.
attack to us. Like, of course, like eventually you learn that it's nothing personal or whatever. But for especially for starting creatives, it's a lot of discouragement really comes from there. For like feeling that your work is devalued, because if your work is devalued, it feels that you are devalued as a
Mm.
person. So it's a really tough journey as a creative. So that's why it is really important for you, like for example, if you're a designer or if you're a filmmaker or a writer, it's important for you to really find like the purpose behind your career. Like the purpose behind the stuff that you do, because that's what you cling on to. Because that's what I did. It was a rough ride, and like it was insane. Like we've encountered a lot of different problems. Like some of them, like I can't even recall anymore. But the one thing that kept me on my feet, and the one thing that's just that's dragged me out of my house and into the studio in front of the computer in front of our clients is because I believe that this is our purpose as a company, and that is to um, help the creative industry here. Because before there was nothing, and then it has always been that like if we're not gonna do this, who's gonna do it, right? And then once you um, once you've already started that, and then you start to grow this family of yours, the stakes becomes higher. It becomes higher, it becomes higher. Your purpose becomes bigger, and then something that you just couldn't shake. So that's very important, because at the end of the day, without purpose, no amount of money in the world can make you feel happy. That's that's just it.
Okay. And I think we're going to end with that. That was a
Yeah.
strong finish. Thank you very much. So that was amazing. I learned a lot from that interview. I was taking down notes, and I would like to know what you think of that show. Do you want to do? Do you like this format? Do you want us to continue interviewing uh, other studios and freelancers? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this episode, if you like what we're doing, please click the subscribe button and click the bell icon to get notifications if we have a new video. Thank you, and hopefully, we're going to see you the next time.